Hello everyone, that Manga Kid here to do a review on Dive, original story by Mori and manga adaptation by Ruzuru Akashiba. So this was originally a novel by Mori, which was made into a manga back, I believe, in the early 2000s, but this is the newer manga adaptation that was adapted from the anime that aired a couple years ago. There is also a live action film of this story, so clearly it's been pretty popular to be adapted so many times in so many different forms of media. I watched the anime originally a couple years ago, or whenever it was that it aired, and I loved it. And so when I found out there was a manga that was released here, because I don't believe the original manga that was made over a decade ago, I don't think that one has ever been translated to English. I could be wrong, but I believe this is the only adaptation that we got legally in physical form in English. It's 3 volumes long, and it is set it's about, sorry, these middle school students slash high school students, but our main character is this boy here whose name is Tomoki. He's in middle school and he goes to the Mizuki Diving Club. He's been obsessed with diving ever since he was a little kid. And so he joined the Mizuki Diving Club, I believe, when he was in grade school, and he's been diving there ever since. The Mizuki Diving Club is pretty unimpressive. The only impressive diver that they have is this boy over here, and he's in high school. But the other divers are just kind of there to dive. They kind of compete in matches, but they don't seem to be doing very well. And so the club is being threatened to shut down because it's not producing any athletes, which is the whole point of having this club or this sports organization, is that you want to produce athletes who will compete representing Japan in the sport of diving. And it's a lot of money to keep the pool and everything up and running. So basically, they get a new coach. And she's a young woman who comes in and says, I'm going to make Olympic athletes out of you, or the club is going to be shut down if none of you qualify for the Olympics. And so it basically goes from being a kind of social and loose sort of love for diving, where these kids just show up every day and dive and they think they're the greatest and whatever, and they love the sport, to being like, no, if you want to be in this club, you need to be serious about diving, and we're going to the Olympics. So if you're not on board, then get off the train. Like, you're not welcome. So it's very interesting because they all have their aspirations and their goals and whatever. They're diving for a reason, but they had never been pushed so hard as this new coach is pushing them to be the best that they can be. And they're a team. However, diving is an individual sport, and so they are technically competing against each other, and they're rival. They are each other's rivals, even though they're in the same diving club. And so there's a bit of tension between our main characters, who are all friends and have been diving together for years, because they are competing against each other. And it's a very, very fun story. I loved the anime. I love the manga just as much. This is adapted from the anime, so it's basically the exact same story, but I really enjoy it. It's so bright and fun, while still tapping into the difficulties of being a young athlete in a sport that is not, you know, um, it's not very well kind of represented, I guess. Um, they have other rival, like, diving teams and clubs and stuff, but again, they're all each other's rivals. And so it's very interesting to see. It's such a small core group of young people who are good at diving, who are actually trying to compete to be in the Olympics, because it's not a widespread sport that everyone's doing. The other thing too is it's focused on men's diving, or boys diving. It's not. I don't think there are any female divers at all besides the female coach. And but it's a fun cast of characters. I The drama that does come from them being, going from more socially doing this to now we're serious about it, and it's a possibility to be in the Olympics, and your friend is your rival, that sort of tension was done very well, I think, and I really enjoyed it because it felt very real. Uh, I really love the characters. The art I really enjoy. Uh, there's some really pretty color pages at the beginning. Um, I'm just trying to find some good artwork for you. And you get like I love the motion. Like it makes it very clear when they're diving what's going on. Um, which it's kind of difficult to do in manga form, whereas the anime you can see them doing their flips and everything, but uh, you can see like it makes it very clear the range of motion and movement that's happening while they're diving, and I think it's done quite beautifully. Um, I really enjoy it. You can tell what's going on. It explains what they're doing and what they're trying to achieve, and it's just a fun sports manga that's a bit different. This is more along the lines of like the kind of free Iwatobi Swim Club and Yuri on Ice sort of thing, because this is more, in my opinion, geared towards people who like pretty boys, rather than people who are serious about like sports manga. But it's a fun one for me, who I don't love sports manga. There's a few that I really enjoy, and this falls into the category of sports manga that I enjoy. Um, but yeah, if you there isn't really there's a little tiny bit of a romance aspect to it. Not It's not a boy's love by any means. Our main character does have a girlfriend, but again, the story is about him as a young person, as someone who's like 14 years old or 15 or whatever, um, really trying to uh, he's trying to balance his personal life with his love of diving and his drive to be in the Olympics and to compete and be successful. So his family life, his relationship, his he doesn't really have any other friends per se, or if he does, it very briefly shows them. Um, yeah, like his life is diving and he's making a choice, and you see him kind of try and rationalize that this is what's important to him right now. And I really, really love this because this I think highlights what it's like to be a young athlete in a sport that is almost specifically, it's very niche. It's not like hockey or something where you're on a team and you're traveling around constantly, and the season for this sport is quite large, and whereas this is like, no, we train and we train and we train, and there's a meet up at some point or a meet at some point where you qualify for a different type of competition, and it's all very much like individual perseverance. And as a young person involved in a sport like that, it seems like this manga has captured that sort of emotion quite well. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend reading it. I haven't seen anybody else pick it up or ever talk about it. So yeah, I definitely recommend it if you're interested in sports manga or you want to get into it. Um, I think this is a good one to try out because it does focus on the personal life as well, not just the sport. But yeah, if you have any questions or if you've read it and you want to chat about it in the comments, please do. Thanks for watching.